All right, so our first segment this week is our top five, and the top five has become a lot of fun for both of us, I think, and just to, and I think her top five, my top five are going to differ more than any other top five we've done in the past, because this week's topic is top five cartoons, and we are
Yo.
from different generations. So I imagine our top five are going to be somewhat different. Maybe we might have one or two that are the same, perhaps. Um,
Well, here's my thing. I picked the ones that I love right now that I still watch.
okay,
I had like childhood favorites, and I thought about doing that, but this is like, should I still watch? Should I love?
I think
So,
I picked the five that I think I have watched the most.
hmm
Um,
same thing.
and so there are others that I have watched more than the five that I ended up choosing, but I feel like those ones weren't as good as these ones. Like for example, I was thinking like Chip and Dale, Ducktales, the one with Baloo, the bear on there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like those ones I watched the shit out of those ones when I was a kid, but the five that I have, I feel are better cartoons than those. In fact, like I didn't have South Park on my final list, and I feel like that should be one of the top five as well. What was the other one? Family Guy, I think should be top five, but I couldn't fit them on these five. So anyway, you go first this week. What is your number five, Katie?
The guy.
You got Family Guy at number five?
I do. I have probably out of well, it's tied with number one or number two. Um, but Family Guy has so many episodes, you can't be like, I've watched every single episode. I
Right,
mean, you can, but good luck.
right.
Um, my top two are limited, so I've seen all of them. But Family Guy, I feel like I've watched the most. Um, I've loved it forever, for years.
Yeah,
It was the first shit I started watching, the first like adult cartoon when I was like probably 11, 12, something like that.
see, and that's my struggle with this one because, like, some of them, I feel like my list would be different if it was a top five cartoons I watched as an adult versus top five cartoons I watched as a kid.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I
you
picked mine
know,
now.
I think that would be a completely different list. You know what I mean? Completely
Versus
different
top
list.
five cartoon. Yeah.
Um, but at number five for me, I have Transformers, which I absolutely loved when I was a kid, to the point where I still love the Transformers today. Um, the Dinobots, the GoBots, like all of those different Transformer cartoons back in the 80s and 90s were just phenomenal. Man, I used to collect like the toys as well because of the cartoon, but I could not leave that off the list, even though like I watched more Ducktales and more Chip and Dale and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Transformers, I didn't watch it as much, but I feel like it had more of an effect on me as a kid than the others did. So, what is
Mm.
your number four?
South Park, the two you said. South Park. I haven't really watched as much South Park, and I got in not later, but like when I was like 14. But man, I just love it. You cannot beat, like, there is nothing like South Park. Like American Dad is kind of a playoff of Family Guy, kind of
Yep.
shit. But South Park, that is some unhinged crap, and I'm about it.
I love
About it.
I love South Park too, just because like out of all the cartoons that exist now, it's the one that is most likely to make me laugh as an adult.
Yes,
You
it
know what I
is
mean?
funny in every way possible.
Right. But at the same time, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't take this seriously. Like, it's so hard to take it seriously. So, like, putting it in the top five was hard for me just because I don't think it had as long standing an effect on me personally. So,
Yeah,
if I was doing the top five best cartoons, I would have South Park in there.
right.
But this is top five favorite cartoons, and that's the difference, right? So we're talking
Yeah,
about personal favorites, which is a little more subjective than just trying to name the best ones. If we were
right.
talking best, I think South Park would definitely be in
I
my
agree.
top three. Um, Now, for me, my number three is King of the Hill. Um,
I wish I would have got into that. I never did.
I just love the character development in that show. Like it's almost like a cartoon, but I mean it is a cartoon, but it's almost like an actual comedy, like a sitcom, right?
Yeah,
Whereas the others are clearly,
like scripted and all
yeah.
that.
And that's why like Simpsons always did so well, is because it felt more like a sitcom than a cartoon. It just felt like an animated sitcom. But that's why I have King of the Hill on here. Just character development was so good. Um, and current events, they do the whole current events thing too, like South Park does, and Simpsons will do
Yes.
that as well. So, what is your number 3?
I got Rick and Morty, my
Nice.
dude. I love Rick and Morty. I have Rick and Morty plugs for my ear holes. I have a Rick and Morty shirt. I'm the most outwardly Rick and Morty on the list, but I love Rick and Morty. I got into it like instantly and still watching it. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of episodes because it's still fairly new, but um and that's another reason I love South Park and Family Guy. You can just sit there, put it on whatever the hell it's on, and just play it forever. But it
Yo,
just keeps going. But
Caramel
Rick and
Unique,
Morty,
thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. Much love. Thank you for the follow. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. I don't know why that didn't give me an alert. Interesting. Anyway, thank you for the follow. Yeah, so Rick and Morty kind of came after my time. Like, I was already an
right?
adult when that came out. But I have interviewed the guy that does the theme song, so that's pretty dope, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's dope.
Jarrett Reddick from Bowling for Soup did all the music for that show.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, he's, the band that is in the show?
Yeah.
That's Bowling for Soup. Mm-hmm. Yep.
How did I know?
I didn't know
I'm
either. I didn't know either until I interviewed him. But yeah, like he does that. He's the voice for Chuck E. Cheese, the mouse on Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, I know, crazy, right? But anyway,
That is nuts.
he does everything. He does so much stuff. Um, so let's see here, number 2 for me, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but just hear me out. Number 2 for me is The Simpsons. Now, for me personally, if I was going with best cartoon, The Simpsons would be number 1. There is no question that The Simpsons is the most successful cartoon of all time. Period. Like, more episodes, more awards, more everything. But for me personally, I have one that is I favor more than The Simpsons. I love The Simpsons. Obviously, they would be number 1 best of all time. But for me, they are number 2 favorite. So what is your number 2, Katie?
So I'll comment on that. Unfortunately, The Simpsons I never got into either.
Okay.
I need to watch. I think both. Also, Hulu is great for cartoons, but
I'll have to keep that in
I
mind.
for real they have everything.
Okay.
But I've been thinking about King of the Hill and The Simpsons because they're on there. But anyway, my 2. So these top 2 are very dear to my heart, and the second one's coming out with another season. Futurama.
Nice.
I love Futurama so much. I that was one of the shows that I thought would never end, and I just kept playing it and playing it while I was doing laundry, and it finally ended, and I almost cried. But they're coming out with a new season. Like, oh, it might be this week.
So I don't think I've ever seen an episode of Futurama.
You should so watch it. It's on Hulu.
All right.
You would probably love it. I love it. I love it so much.
I will definitely check it out. And I knew our list would differ, especially at the top, because my number 1 goes way back. It's still around. They're still making new episodes of it. And
I'm probably going to get made fun of for my number 1.
Maybe. I think we both are, because everybody's going to be like, yo, how do you put that number 1 over South Park and Simpsons? But I've got Looney Tunes as number 1. Period. I don't think there's a better cartoon that's ever been made. Like, they talk about all of the... There's so much stuff that they would get canceled for nowadays. Like, let's just think about it. They have a stuttering pig. They have a gangster rabbit. They have a road runner that's always bullying a coyote, right? Like, they just mental illness with Daffy Duck. Like, they touched on so much stuff that made human conditions more palatable as a child. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if I saw somebody who was crazy, they didn't seem quite as crazy because of Daffy Duck. Or if I saw
Mhm.
somebody with a French accent, they didn't seem so weird because of Pepe Le Pew. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
Yosemite Sam with a Southerner. Like for me, I didn't hear anybody with accents like that as a kid. You know? So
Now
I
you
got
hear them all the time.
absolutely I do. But I love Looney Tunes. I still watch them from time to time. Definitely by far my favorite. It was really hard. Wait a minute. Did I skip number 4? I don't think I talked about number 4 for me. I have Scooby Doo at number 4. I didn't talk about that, did I?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, I skipped it then. So just so we know, I have Transformers at 5, Scooby Doo at 4, King of the Hill at 3, Simpsons at 2, and Looney Tunes at number 1. I was like,
Yeah.
and same thing. I love Scooby Doo for the same reason. Um,
Hmm.
and nowadays, like I troll Scooby Doo just because it's so funny. Like I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you pesky kids. So, Katie Lynn, what do you have at number 1 for
And
favorite
this is,
cartoon?
you might not even know what the hell this is, but um I started watching this when, oh my God, I remember I used to go on to, okay, first of all, it's Adventure Time, but I
Okay.
remember I was like 10. Man, I might have been younger, and they had a game on CartoonNetwork.com that you could play as Marceline the Vampire Queen and stuff. And I sat there and I played that forever, and I still love Adventure Time to this day. I watch reruns all the time, literally last week. So I love it so much. It's its own thing, and it's so like, it seems like very childish, but it gets pretty dark.
Mm-hmm.
It's not meant for children.
I
At
don't.
the first season, sure, but then after that, no way, no, no way, no.
So this was
But
for me. This was the hardest top 5 we've done. Um,
me too.
because it was really difficult. Like I feel so bad leaving off South Park and Family Guy
I
and
love American Dad. I love
American
Rob.
Dad, Cleveland Brown, like all of these shows that are great, but like how do you decide?
And my thing is also like, I've watched a butt ton of cartoons on Netflix and stuff like Disenchantment. I loved that so much, but there's only 2 seasons and it's the series and it's over. You know what I mean? It's not like something you
Mm,
really get invested in for a long period of time like this stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And then like F is for Family with Bill Burr. That shit is hilarious. You should
See,
check that out if
for
you
me,
haven't
like I
watched it.
used to love the Justice League cartoons too, with like Superman and
Hmm.
Batman and all of those, Aquaman. To this day, I'm still mad at the Aquaman movies because he's not wearing orange and green. Like, what the hell is that about? But anyway, if you
Also,
are, go ahead.
I was gonna say honorable mention for me, and I may or may not still watch this, but Fairly Odd Parents.
Nothing
Love
wrong
the
with
first
that.
one.
Absolutely nothing wrong
Loved
with that.
it. Still love it.
Hell, I used to watch Powerpuff Girls with my daughters, man. Or
That's good shit too.
the frickin' what was it, Teletubbies. My kids used to love the
Uh-uh.
Teletubbies. Oh my
No, no,
gosh,
no.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, why? No, absolutely not. But
That's
anyway,
terrifying.
that's our top 5 favorite cartoons. If you guys are listening or watching, or you're in the live channel, what are your top 5 favorite cartoons? Comment down below or wherever you are. Let us know where we got it right, where we got it wrong, etc., etc. And if you have any ideas for us for a future top 5 segment, please email us at thechrisandkatieshow at gmail.com. Um, man, all y'all suggestions really help me out in getting these scripts ready because we're doing this every Monday. And Katie, I'm sure you can attest to this. That turnaround is really quick sometimes, right? It's
Yeah.
like we stop talking Monday night and you feel like you have a whole week until we do this again. But then it's Sunday already. And like for example, tonight I had done nothing on cartoons, and it was maybe 45 minutes to go before we were going to be live, and I was like, oh my God, I haven't done my list yet. So yeah, it turns around really quickly. So it is
Sure do.
the Chris and Katie Show at gmail.com. All one word. Let us know topics you'd love to hear, both in our news segments, but also in our top 5 segments. If you would like to have topics added to our game wheel as well, you can go there as well. We are also taking special guests on the show that you can use that email for. Keep that in mind.